Okay, now we'll try to sculpt out this buffalo with some modeling clay. At least the head. So you can see what I'm going by. And before I start sculpting, I always break my clay down into little balls like this, so it's a lot easier to manipulate. So if it's cold out, it doesn't take so hard to soften them. So anyways, I'll see if I can do this or if this works on GoPro. Okay. I'll try to make it the same size as him. And that way I can do it quicker and this time. And this is another thing I did before I went into work, as I would sit and sculpt out whatever I had in front of me. I usually use reference material just for fun, just to see how accurate I can get it. I don't usually do anything from memory, because I'm old, my memory's shot, so. And we'll grab a few more pieces of clay. Trying to make his head. You know, the horn is back there. And if it was winter time, I usually run my clay down where the heater was blowing to warm it up before I got there. So, but you gotta be careful you don't melt it totally. So we'll leave this here. And I usually have modeling tools, you know, because my fingers are a little big and fat for this smaller sculptures. But I forgot to bring them with today. Maybe I'll use my pencil. And another thing you can do is draw from your own sculptures, which I'll be trying to show you in another video, I assume. It's not too cool here today, so the clay works pretty good. He got a lot of hair across his face here, as you can see. Big shaggy lump right up in here. And this one horn goes back like this. So we're going to look at it from the side. This is how it would probably look. I usually like to have two pictures, a side one and a front one for their and then I usually let's see, I'll put the eyeball right there, and I'll put another one over on his side. And make a little divots. And this will be his nose up in front here. And I usually like to roll out the eyeballs at the same time so they're the same size. It's a pretty big buffalo bull, so he's, according to his size, his eyeballs will be pretty small according to the rest of his head, proportionally speaking. So these two look about right. So I'll hang one in this hand. It might be a little big, but we'll deal with it. Yeah, we'll make it a little smaller. Make it a little smaller. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. And you put an eye. That's still pretty large for the size of his head. There, we'll get one out even smaller. Even smaller, boys and girls. And there, we'll put that one right there. That don't look too far off, does it? You can tell me. I can take it. You can tell me. I can take it. I'm a man. Then we'll put some more up above it. Roll out a little line of it and put it in there. Something like that. But then you see you're missing a lot more material above where the hair is supposed to go. So we'll try to fix this a little bit more. And a little more clay, a little more, and then we'll put some down this way. So we'll at least work on one side of his head at a time here. And a little more on top. 2 more small balls of clay, stick them up on top. Like that. See if we can make it look like a buffalo. I haven't sculptured, as far as I know, any buffalo. I've drawn just very few, so you're getting a first-time premiere glimpse of me doing buffalo. Got to put his ear in. Great shaggy ear. Don't look very shaggy here, but you do what you can with a fingernail. Little divot there. Take off that extra, stick it on the front. When in doubt, stick it on the front. And you got a little bit more around here. So put some around the front there. Then we'll, let's see, his nose is down in here. Put a little more down this way. And of course he's got a dewlap, I suppose. You can see that thing hanging down behind his nose. Now, just for fun, we'll put nostrils in them. We'll put a nostril here and a nostril here. I'll probably smash them with my fingers here when I'm monkeying around with the rest of it, but we'll see what we can do. And then we'll do this here. Some of this gotta go back this way. Okay. Now we're cooking with Crisco. So now, oh, better make that nose a little nicer. It's a little more flat like that. Oh boy, ain't that nice. Now, we'll work on the far side. Well, we'll put a lump up here too. Because he's got a real rough on the top of his head. See that? Right there. Right there. Goes up mucho higher than his horns. So I don't have enough up there yet, but I'm doing okay. Don't you think I'm doing okay? Answer in the comments below. Maybe you don't want to task it. Maybe you do like I do and look at this on your television, on the Roku stick. And that way you can't even put comments in. You can't subscribe. Oh, I could if I typed in my stuff, but I'm not the only one. I know that, boys and girls. I know you're watching it on your phones or your whatever, and you're not subscribing and you're not signed in. How do I know this? Because that's how I do it. But unless I'm really impressed, then I'll subscribe. But after the pandemic disappeared or became less of a pandemic, I'll notice there's a lot of YouTube sites that aren't getting subscribed to as they did before and during the pandemic. So I believe most people, a lot of people are not watching YouTube, or if they are, they're not subscribing. So, which I can understand because I do the same thing. But I will if I am impressed with somebody's stuff, like ceramics or plein air painting or whatever. I'll subscribe and like. But I'll look and see how many followers they got too. If they don't have very many followers, then I feel bad for them, like, because I don't have very many either. And then I'll subscribe and like their stuff, just to try to help them out, because that's how you get paid by YouTube. So, but it's a good thing I ain't just trying to make all my living off of YouTube, because I sure couldn't make a living off it for a few as I've got now. But that's okay. I got money coming in elsewhere. I got my Social Security. So now I can do a little more of this fun stuff, see? Stuff I've been wanting to do my whole life. More time to do art. And there I am doing it in the parking lot instead of at home. I'll do some at home too, but with the sheep and the cows and all the stuff that comes with having a house, you don't get much time for that. So I'm just trying to help. The more people that do art, the better I like it, I guess. So it's something you can do. And I started sculpting when I was, what was I? Was I in 2nd grade? Anyways, you know how you always get the Play-Doh, and that's garbage to me. It's not worth a hoot. And then, anyways, I think it was my 1st grade or 2nd grade teacher. She gave us she had a bunch of modeling clay and let us use that. And it's like, oh man, I couldn't believe it, how nice that stuff was compared to Play-Doh. So I actually took some home, stuck in my pocket, took it home from school, and I was playing with it. My mom says, "Where'd you get that?" Because she knew I didn't have it. I said, "I got it from school." Well, then she knew I didn't get permission to take it. So she called up my teacher, but then she made sure I had modeling clay after that. So I've had modeling clay since I was pretty small. And I'd always sit around. And in the wintertime, I'd have to heat it up over the wood heating stove so I could model with it. And then we had dogs in the house. So then if I dropped it on the floor, then it would get full of dog hair. So then trying to sculpture with it was like a real mess. Because after a while, if you tried to get the hair out of it, you could run a table knife or something across it. You could cut it in half, a lump of clay. And then you could get the dog hair out of it, but a lot of times the clay come with. So pretty soon you ended up with nothing for clay, because once you get the dog hair out of it, of course the dog hair was kind of like fiber for it, but I didn't need fiber for it. Anyways, there's looking kind of cool, I think. Oh, I got to make his dewlap a little bigger, I think. That'd be nicer. So this might be kind of, I'll make this look a little fluffier. So this is how I do it. If I had more tools, I'd show you a little more stuff, but I'm just using the pencil like a tool now. So, but you'd be surprised how nice this stuff turns out when you're sitting here trying to go fast with it, and you're putzing around, and there's no pressure like a big YouTube audience or people watching. I actually can do this in front of people too, if you do that. But what I had to do, like if I was painting in my car before I went into work, or sculpting or something like that, and somebody'd come by and make a comment, I usually played rock music, so I was like a little bit more belligerent, I guess. So it would get me over my fear of performing in public, I guess, because I'm not a very